It is September 19th, 2025. I'll be reading from my book, Uriel's Word, A Lightworker's Journey. And this is episode 11 of that book. Here's a poem by Hafiz. It's a quote from A Year with Hafiz by Daniel Ladinsky from page 148. Enduring the absurd. Such a dignity can come to us, enduring the absurd, with forbearance and humor. Elegant becomes the countenance of one who exemplifies patience. This book is a nonfiction book and is dedicated to all the valiant starseeds, lightworkers, healers, shamans, spiritual warriors, mystics, peacemakers, and seers, old and young, and their intrepid helpers, who have come here in the service of humanity at this time of great change. All persons' names have been changed. Chapter 25, Demos. July 22nd, 1994. My boyfriend at the time, I'll call him Alf, and I had gone to the Nanaimo River with its riverbed of lovely, flat, smooth, large, oval rocks that were a delight to walk barefoot on. Arriving there that sunny afternoon, I was intent on just communing with nature, just soaking it up and being in right brain mode. As soon as we got there, I sat on the ground to take off my runners. Alf unzipped his backpack and pulled out the book he'd brought, a thick onion-skin tome of North American flora. He insisted that what we were to be doing was searching for and identifying the local flora using this reference book. Surprise! So not what I wanted to do, in fact, quite the opposite. I was annoyed and he knew it. Since he was so determined, though, I played along, and still seated, I took the book, flipped through, stopped at a random page, poked my finger onto a page, read out what it identified, swiveled on my seat, reached over to the nearest plant, picked it, and voila! An exact match in 2 seconds flat. It was a wild onion plant. His reaction was disbelief, denial, even fearful. I rubbed the stem so he could smell the onion scent unmistakably, since he didn't want to believe it. That settled it. And then on to what I had come there for. And oh, wasn't that a clear and swift demonstration of right brain efficiency and elegance? June 13th, 1998, version 1. It was a hot summer day, clear blue sky, not a cloud in sight. I drove to Lanceville to see my friend Dee at her mother Petunia's place. Interesting that 7 years prior I had lived only 2 doors down from that house for a year, and Petunia hadn't bought that house yet. My 4-year-old daughter Wren and I, on our walks, would comment that it was our favorite house on the street, and gaze at its lovely curvy driveway, then keep walking. Several years later we would become friends with Dee and Petunia, and that sunny June day, there I was, visiting the seaside town of Lanceville, where I found my eagle feather when I lived in Lanceville, and this house I had so liked. Looking forward to seeing my friend Dee, I went round to the garden in back where they were lounging. Petunia asked me in a sneering tone of voice, "So where's your rainbow now?" She was leery of me because of my rainbow affinity, just too spooky for her. It hurt my feelings, I'm just saying, to be so misunderstood. Anyway, what happened was a demonstration for Petunia and Dee, and for me, of the power of love. As soon as Petunia asked, "Where's the rainbow?" there it was. There they were, in a clear blue sky. There was an inverted rainbow, like a smile, with an adjacent rainbow vertical exclamation point. A stunning display of magic. And how harmless and delightful could you get? I mean, really. They're so pretty and never hurt you. But she thought I was a witch. The look on her face, afraid. Afraid? Why afraid? Oh, burn those witches at the stake, I guess. Those soothsayers, healers, and shamans. Those light bearers, rose-aura'd innocents. Those prayer givers, peacemakers, and wisdom keepers. Such phenomena attends their missions here on earth. They do not seek those abilities and powers. That is not their mission, which is to be showing the way, not in any finite, dogmatic, or indoctrinal way, just by being the way of love, the way of kindness. Oh, I have since looked into rainbows, and just like hummingbirds, when you think you know all about them, you find out more. Rainbows, circular, double, triple, upside down, straight, around a person, marking an event, abundance of spirit. Rainbows, even in the dark of night. 1975. I was 19 years old. My boyfriend Jeff and his older brother had set up a sort of firing range to practice their marksmanship using tin cans set on the top of a fallen log. The setting was their father's acreage 30 miles outside of the capital city. They were shooting a shotgun and nagged me to have a try at it, as I'd never held or shot a gun of any kind. I did not want to and kept refusing. I don't like guns, but they kept pressuring me till I said I'd do it just to get them off my back, but I sure wasn't happy about it. They said just the one tin can would suffice. I aimed and shot once, bullseye. That shotgun blast nearly wrenched my shoulder off. There was a stunned silence, and if I recall, I walked off to baby my sore shoulder. But yeah, just one go, and that was it. Halloween 2009. Having a dinner date with Dax. We walked from my place amongst the costumed Halloween crowd heading downtown. Me in my witchy garb, I said, "I'm cold. I wish I had a scarf." And a minute later, we rounded the corner up to the restaurant, and oh, there it was, just at the curb, a scarf that was a match for my outfit. Well, thank you very much. Just what I needed it. Just what and when I needed it. What is notable about this little demo is that Dax was as delighted as I was. Maybe even more so, and that was unique in my experience, that reaction to these magic demos. 15 years later, he still brings it up when I run into him. Too bad he was just another Romeo perp. Way too many of those showed up during and after I was divorced. For years, a whole pack of them. 2011, May 12th, version 1. It was my 55th birthday, and Bibi, a friend I had met at a singing group, had taken me out for a birthday lunch. She had asked where I'd like to go, then headed in the opposite direction, deliberately ignoring my choice. Bibi, an older gay woman who I just intended friendship with, nothing more, was disappointed. That I'm not gay was a problem for her. Couldn't I just snap my fingers and be a lesbian to be cooperative, eh? What egotism! I'd run into this before. Also, she was very rich, and I was very poor, financially. I mention that because this demo was for her. Numerical. Very. We went back to my place to play cribbage, a game I enjoy. We played a warm-up round, I think, and the next round I got the perfect cribbage hand, which is 29, and involves all the 5 spots. I did not realize at the time how very rare that hand is. I'd never had one before, and on my 55th birthday, all 5s, and that's in May, the 5 month. The odds are astronomical. I had gotten out my Hoyles to verify the facts, and as I later learned, this perfect hand is newsworthy. How did Bibi react? She went into denial. It freaked her out. Her reaction puzzled me. Wow, not the best response. This was a learning experience for me too. Raised a lot of questions like, how does this happen through me, and why? And why for only certain people? Here's the thing. These are benign, even loving demonstrations, so why be afraid? Too unnatural? Is that why? Or I am a magician and don't mess with me? Ha! As with all these occurrences, I'm not the doer. Some greater intelligence is working through me. It just happens. Sure, the timing is specific, for sure. There's no I doing it. Maybe that's a big part of the point. I've noticed that those that get these demo gifts through me have got big fat egos. Hey, I want to say this doesn't come with a manual. Not in this lifetime. Oh, it's some other kind of power where money is not part of the equation. It doesn't rule the roost. What I imagine is a free economy. Stuff just circulates, freely given and received, with goodwill. And it works beautifully. Summer 2009. This is what happened. The parenthesis of this event was torture. I will state unequivocally that I do not approve of torture as a teaching method. It is crude and cruel. Learning is best done while relaxed. That is my opinion. Torture is just sadistic bullshit. Those who rationalize it as necessary are probably torturers. There, I've said it. Nobody should be tortured for any reason, period. Enough of that already. This was an oral, A-U-R-A-L, torture. Assault, extreme and a constant at Bird Sanctuary Drive, where I rented a basement suite after the 6-month oral assault at Crescent View Drive in the condo near the hospital where I lived for 8 years. My friend at the condo at Crescent View was Jeannie, a spry 80-year-old British lady. Very generous, kind, but Brit superior. We used to have fun together on woodland hikes. One day after I had moved to Bird Sanctuary Drive, I visited Jeannie, and now she had been moved to a ground-level suite at the condo in the front with a patio and some grass. She was there waiting for me outside the open French doors. It was easy access to just hop the low fence instead of going through 2 sets of buzz-you-in doors. When I vaulted over the low fence to the lush grass front yard, my watch strap snagged on the wood and a pin holding the watch strap popped out. There I was with a dangling watch. I leaped onto the grass and in an instant retrieved this tiny, very tiny rod of metal. It was literally a needle in a haystack. It didn't land on top of the grass and wasn't visible either. I busied myself with reattaching it. Jeannie's mouth was slack and open and her eyes wide. She didn't want to believe what she just saw either. It's like I noticed that it's unusual, but nothing to be afraid of. And I wondered later if the torture had anything to do with it. What sense located it so instantly and easily? I don't know. 2013. James, a fellow I'd had many conversations with since 2000 when I informally met him, came to my apartment for dinner the one and only time. He had been helping me deal with an eviction notice, or so I thought. He was quite the monologuer and had not been honest with me about his military job. I found out later. I served up roast chicken, garlic mashed potatoes, steamed veggies, and I forget what for dessert. And after that, I suggested we play cards. He'd gone on, bragging about his acumen with some card game that I was unfamiliar with. Aces were trump and had an order of hierarchy with the suits too. To get on with it, I said, cut the cards for who deals. I called it and I cut. The ace of diamonds, the highest trump. It was so specific. And then he didn't want to play trivial. It wasn't at the time. His reaction was shocked. Then he covered it with some blasé, unrelated comment. When I first met James, we talked about all sorts of things, and I often saw him at the library. In the sci-fi section, we compared notes on authors in that genre. He was all for Isaac Asimov, who wrote I, Robot, a book I did not like at all. I liked the humanists like Robert Heinlein, Spider Robinson, and especially Theodore Sturgeon, author of More Than Human. That about says it in a nutshell. He was all for AI, and he scoffed at my assertion that telepathy was the future, or anything like that. Here's the thing about telepathy. There's no spam, no ads, no lies, no porn. Well, which would you rather? What I have noticed about who gets a demo and who doesn't, they do seem to be specifically chosen. It doesn't seem to be random. The demos are unique and tailor-made exactly for that person. And I've noticed that they happen more often for those with hidden agendas and, like I said, big fat egos. There are exceptions of a more positive kind, like the chocolate cherry and a jack point with Virginia, and that special photo she took, commanding the rainbow. I think I've already mentioned that 10 years later I saw an interview with a man, Daryl Stokes, whose photographs are very similar. It's like power shows up and in action conveys have some respect, or see that, or have some magical chocolate fun. Enjoy. That's when I look at it in retrospect. At the time it happens, for me it has so many adjectives. Spontaneous, unsought, natural feeling, precise in timing and content, swift and sure, and delightful, even fun. They are always benign and elegant, one-offs. I am not fussed about scientific repeatability. That's not the point. I don't feel I command them at will. They just show up when they are meant to, or when they want to, if a doer is imagined. Like telegrams, so direct. "1999. I met and started dating Emmett. Oh dear, a lack of honesty there. We went to Long Beach on the west coast of Vancouver Island and visited, I can't remember if it was South or North Beach, a lovely smooth pebble beach down from Wickaninish, a favorite place of mine for pebble hounding. I have meditated a lot by rock gazing. Rock hounding is fun with others, but I liked it best when alone, undisturbed, uninterrupted. Emmett shared this love of rock finding and beauty. At South Beach, I proposed a most beautiful rock hunt just for fun and impetus. We compared after our picks. Mine was the winner, hands down. He got mumphy, so I showed him my method. You just sit down on a spot you like, then you scan what's around you with the intention to find a beautiful pebble. That's it. I demonstrated as I was explaining, sat down, and immediately picked up a gray rock about 1 inch across, and it was a perfect heart shape, both sides. It was naturally so perfect, and it was a message about matters of the heart, and oh well. September 30th, 1997, journal book number 44, page 121 to 124. I was anguished after years of much pain and no end in sight. I was still so disabled and disciplined about keeping up physical exercise, and Tai Chi and hiking in nature were my preferred ways then. There are several lovely nature spots for that here in Nanaimo. This one, Piper's Lagoon, was a favorite. I was on a walk I'd done many times up onto the craggy Garry Oak Point and facing east on a narrow path at the cliff edge, 30 or more feet above the rocky shoreline, a sheer drop. I lost my footing and began to fall over the cliff edge. At that moment I saw with such clarity and detail the very bottom of the cliff, the jagged rocks where I would land. Immediately, an unseen force pushed me back and I didn't fall over. Divine intervention. I numbly sat on a nearby bench overlooking the sea and distant mountain range. A huge rainbow suddenly appeared. I sat in calm absence of feeling. My heart had not even sped up. Nothing. Then a loud crashing sound began to my left, out of sight, rhythmically over and over. I thought maybe parts of the cliff were dislodging and falling into the sea. I got up and went to investigate. It was a huge sea lion breaching and crashing back down, over and over. Spectacular. About a year or two later, I had a tea leaf reading with an elder psychic I'd seen almost yearly for a decade. She said to me, "And you feel like checking out, and you're not allowed," in this rather schoolyard teasing tone. I knew she had seen that cliff event. I am in this for the long haul, apparently. This one I like to call Show Me Love. 2017 summer hot. I'd walked down the hill to Departure Bay Beach to catch the breeze and be near people and to do some drawing. I felt so lonely and unhappy, living in an inhospitable basement suite. I'd had zero social life for a few years since my mother had died. I sat on a log near a set of steps down from the walkway. I had an intense thought and inner wish. Show me love. Immediately, a youthful grandma came down the steps and spread a blanket right in front of me and plunked down a year-old baby girl. The baby was dressed in white with pink hearts. The dark-haired grandma asked if I'd watch over the baby while she went and fetched the baby's toddler sister. I said yes, of course. The baby girl was sitting up calm and alert, and so bonny. Hey presto, my favorite. I have a mutual love connection with babies and children. Ever since that first Saturn return, aged 28 and a half, when I also adored the color pink so suddenly, and painted with it freely after then. As I write this, I am pondering my love of the human form, especially. How I adore it. Live model drawing was what I excelled at in university, but afterwards I focused on landscape and abstracts. Now in 2024, I have decided I will not reincarnate into a human body in this version of 3D Earth reality again. The new Earth, sure, okay, because Earth is a jewel. My decision is final because I am done with suffering. Period, period, period. I think that will conclude episode 11. Signing off.